Murray State is going to the College World Series. The College World Series is set, and for the first time since they did Super Regionals, no team that made it to Omaha last year is returning this year. And the 8-team field and the opening matchups are Arizona versus Coastal Carolina, Louisville versus Oregon State, Murray State versus UCLA, and LSU versus Arkansas. And it is easy peasy, lemon squeezy for me to pick a team to cheer for going into the College World Series that I absolutely have been entirely invested in the entire tournament of this baseball and college baseball season. It's easy for me to pick a team because 1, I love an underdog. 2, I hate UCLA, and I see that opening round matchup. And 3, we are connected to the school's most famous alumni, Ja Morant of Murray State. And Ja has been tweeting up a storm during this Murray State run. And it is not a fluke, CJ, because Murray State is now into the College World Series for the first time. Give me the Racers. Give me the underdog. Give me just the 4th 4-seed in College World Series history to make it to Omaha. And last night's game, did you watch last night's game between Murray State and Duke?
I was busy with the hockey, which got pretty damn weird. Can you zoom back in on the hat for me?
Yeah, you want to go
quick?
back? You want to try again?
I'm trying to see. It's chicken. Is that a chicken on a jet ski?
It's not.
It's not a chicken on a jet ski. It's not a surfboard.
It's not a surfboard.
Is that Biloxi?
It's not Biloxi.
It's not Biloxi?
It's not Biloxi.
All right, I'll give it another guess. But what happened in the College World Series?
Oh, you missed a classic. You missed quite the thriller in
Jacob.
Durham, because after Murray State won the Oxford Regional, last night they wrapped up the Durham Super Regional and beat Duke 5-4. And CJ, they had to celebrate their win twice. 2 times they took to the field to celebrate making it to the College World Series, because the first time there was an interference call that ended up getting overturned. So this is how it all went down. In case you missed it, which, what else were you doing last night? Murray State was up 5-4, bottom of the 9th, 1 out, and Duke hits into what would be called a double play due to runner interference from the runner sliding into second. The ump calls it interference, game over, cue the dog pile. They go to review it, and they ultimately decide that it was not runner interference. It looked like runner interference to me as a baseball expert, as a capital B baseball fan. I think it was absolutely runner interference, but alas, it's just the out at second. They put the runner back on first. Felt totally primed for a heartbreak moment for Murray State. I was like, oh, Duke is going to walk this off, aren't they? The answer is no. Instead, cool, calm, collected, 2-2 count, ground ball to first. It is Murray State with the upset, and they are in to the College World Series. And I am realizing that I edited 2 minutes of Murray State Duke video this morning that I never pressed send on to Jacob. I was just wrapped up in the moment. Okay, it was incredible to go back. Yeah, you're really struggling with this one, aren't you? You're not.
So that's not Biloxi.
No, it's not Biloxi.
And it's not a surfing chicken.
No, it is not a surfing chicken.
But it is a rooster though, correct? What is the rooster riding? That's not the Waikiki boys, is it?
No.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna get this $1,000 damn.
To be completely honest, I'm not sure what I think it is a rooster. Okay. It is a rooster, so you're on that. But it is not a surfboard. It is not a jet ski.
And it's not the Waikiki Beach Boys.
And it's not the Waikiki Beach Boys.
All right. Did you hit send on this video so we can see it all play out?
Oh, I mean, now it's probably going to be too late. Jacob's going to have to download it and go through the process. But
Good
anyway,
point.
It was an incredible ending for Murray State.
And from the sounds of it, I'm grateful that the umpires didn't cost Murray State a chance at the World Series.
They could have, and it would have been rigged for the big boys. And that, honestly, all jokes aside, it is entirely refreshing right now to have a sports story like Murray State, because we live in this world where cash rules everything around me. There you go. And, Jacob does have the video. Why not? Why not? Let's show the people what they missed last night in the Murray State-Duke game. So this is the play that I was talking about, where they ultimately call runner interference and then do the take-backsies moment. So Duke hits into what could be a double play. That's the runner. They don't get it at first, but the ump calls it runner interference, so it's 2 outs. That's the end of the game. And Murray State goes full celebration mode. You get the dog pile. This is the moment. This is your first ever trip to the College World Series as a program. And then they just take it back from you because they go back to the review booth and the replays determine that it wasn't runner interference. Doesn't it look like runner interference to you? I think it looks like textbook runner interference to me. Here he comes. Boom! But they end up taking it back. So they go, so it just sucks all the momentum out of such a fun moment. And they have to go back to it. And Murray State's not happy with how it plays out, and then ultimately hits into the grounder, out at first. Game over. Murray State's able to celebrate appropriately. But it does feel so special in a time where money is everything in sports. Money is power in sports. And for you to see the little guy from the Missouri Valley Conference, I mean, Murray State didn't have stadium lights for their baseball stadium until 2014. Like, their coach, Dan Skirka, he takes responsibility. He mows the grass in their outfield. Murray State's head coach mows the grass in their outfield, and according to reports, he makes $68,000 a year. This is a guy who was a assistant coach at Walters State, a Knoxville JUCO, 7 years ago, before Murray State hired him in 2018, and now 7 years later, he's taking his team to the World Series. This is the field that they play on in Murray, Kentucky. They finally added, quote, grandstands, seats for fans to come and watch them play. And this is a coach who makes $68,000 a year, according to reports. And you put that up against other coaches. The leading moneymaker in college baseball from a coaching standpoint is the University of Tennessee coach. He makes $3 million a year. $3 million a year compared to $68,000 a year. Like, these are the stories that I love in sports, and I certainly understand why we are moving towards a world where we aren't going to have as many of them and might not have any of them. So I am holding on tightly to every little guy underdog run that we get in the meantime.
I appreciate what you're saying. Mm-hmm. You tell me one coach is making $3 million and another coach is making $65,000. You tell me one coach is playing in a stadium with lights and seats, thousands of people, while the other one is playing in a stadium that is like 800 people stadium. I'm using that loosely. Did he delete it? Oh,
how on earth did somebody know that?
Edward. You should have deleted it. I told you to delete it. It's the Columbia River Roosters.
No.
Okay. What was I saying? But I hear, holy hell, there's a big discrepancy. Holy hell, these things are not the same. They should not be competing at the same level. They shouldn't. We can do underdogs with the big boys because there's always going to be an underdog story, like college football this year. And maybe we don't need to do it in everywhere, but in college football, we absolutely need to. Underdog stories pop up. We had the CFP, the 12-team field. I'd argue Indiana was an underdog, right? Like you don't get to be Indiana football with the history that you have, get into a playoff situation and not be the underdog. Is Indiana from the Big Ten? Absolutely. Is the Big Ten one of the most powerful power conferences? Yes, it's either them or the SEC, right? But it's Indiana. And Indiana's not great at football. For them to get there makes them an underdog. We will always find underdogs for these stories. It doesn't have to be the gap that is $3 million for a coach versus $65,000 for a coach. And it is the Columbia
no, you're actually wrong. I mean, yes, technically that is the
Columbia River Coffee
No, that's
Roasters.
not the team. That's
Columbia River Coffee Roasters.
It's the Roosters, and it's an alternative identity. It's like if I asked you a Redbirds logo and you said, "Oh, that's the Memphis Barbecue Nachos." That's not a real team. That's their alternative identity for a period of time.
Fine, just the Columbia Dust Devils. All
no,
right.
It's the Tri-City Dust Devils. You didn't get it right. You don't get the $1,000. It is the Tri-Cities Dust Devils. You are wrong. Now I will give you a chance. I will give you a chance to make up your money here. I'll give you a chance. I'm not going to do the full $1,000, but I will offer you $5.
Now you're
I'll offer you $5 if you can tell me the most famous alumni of the Tri-Cities Dust Devils.
I'm gonna have to think about that.
The most famous alumni ever of the Tri-Cities Dust Devils.
I'm thinking about it.
The Tri-City Dust Devils currently, they are the single A affiliate Class A short season for the Los Angeles Angels. When I lived in the Tri-Cities, they were the Class A affiliate for the San Diego Padres. They, I think, originally were the Colorado Rockies. So it's gone Rockies, Padres, Angels. But it is the Tri-City Dust Devils. This is their alternative identity and their hats. But can you tell me what... I just keep asking you questions that you don't know the answer to. Do you now know what this thing is? What the
No.
rooster is
What is
riding? It is a hydro, which is a boat,
Okay.
but it's a racing boat. So in the Tri-Cities that lands on the Columbia River every year, there's something called the hydro races. And they are these big boat races that come through, and they're one of the most popular events in the city, and like everybody comes through and tailgates and watches the boat races, and people come from all over the Pacific Northwest. And so this is a hydro. And I was a hydro reporter for 1 year and 1 year only, which was a thrilling time in my life. I never got to go on a boat as it went fast, which was
What year were you there?
I was there 2014 through 2016 before I moved to Memphis.
So like 2 years, 3 years after Russell Wilson?
There you
Boom,
go.
baby!
Look at that.
Yeah!
$5 is yours. Russell Wilson, former Tri-City Dust Devil,
There
in
we
his
go.
small time
When he was
pursuing a professional baseball career, aka
money.
leveraging his contract in the National Football League. Isn't this a cool logo, though?
I like it.
I know, I like it too. When
I
I
like
first
the
got
colors
it,
also.
I actually
We don't
was
see red
confused
and
as
blue.
well. No, and that's not their normal color. Their normal colors are like navy.
Yeah, we see a lot of
tan,
that.
So yeah, it's so typical. But this is like a very bold. I like the pale blue, the bright red. The rooster is a fun little piece of it as well. So shout out to the Tri-Cities and the Tri-City Dust Devils and Giza Stadium and Russell Wilson and knowing really obscure baseball teams on this very obscure baseball show, because that's what we are all about. I will go back and argue with you, because I love to argue with you when you're not stealing $5 from me for knowing that Russell Wilson is a former Tri-City Dust Devil. There is a difference between Indiana, the underdog, and Murray State, the underdog. There just is. And that's okay, but they are not the same. And we will get accustomed to cheering for the more surprising stories in sports, but just because they are more surprising, just because an Indiana versus an Ohio State or a Michigan in the Big Ten is always going to feel underdoggy within that conference, it is so far and away a different experience than a Murray State making it to the College World Series, than a Loyola Chicago making it to the Final Four, than a George Mason making it to the Final Four, than a Boise State beating an Oklahoma in a Fiesta Bowl all those years back before we moved into the current college football playoff. Like it is. It's just different. Like a Cinderella, it is hard to attach Cinderella to a program that is also making boatloads of money in this scenario.
How many Cinderellas have to fall flat on their face, running from the ball, tripping down the stairs, turning back into pumpkins, and wearing peasant garbs before we decide, okay, that's enough? That's enough. Because more often than
But that's
not,
what makes it's the uniqueness of it. We hate,
so we
not
need to
hate,
keep it,
but
we need to keep it around. We need to allow these teams and these programs that are severely outmatched financially, resource-wise, and honestly quality of athlete-wise, we need to continue to allow them to compete with those who have, because we get one of these stories every decade. Like that just doesn't seem like it's worth it to me. In football, it's not worth it in football. If we want to talk about the other sports, I'm here to listen, but it's not worth it in football. That gap, that chasm is way too large, and it's only going to continue to grow. And those types of things are going to become less and less likely until they're non-existent.
yeah. I hope Murray State makes a run at it this time around.
How about the SEC?
They're also legit. Yeah, LSU's the favorite. But
LSU
Arkansas is seen as
and
the more
Arkansas.
complete team.
LSU and Arkansas are both sitting there like plus 250, plus 300, and then the next closest to them is like plus 600.
Yeah.
I think it's Oregon State or somebody plus 600. So whoever wins that series, and they're facing off immediately.
Yes.
So whoever wins that is the odds-on favorite to win the College World Series, which could save face for a conference that placed the highest number of teams into the field with 13, and then first weekend, Vanderbilt down, Texas down. 9 of the 13 teams in the SEC
familiar.
fall in the first weekend,
That sounds
leaving only 4 to remain. And so, like, the SEC was clapping and stomping about baseball. We run that too. And you look up, and like, it's not a whole lot of them in the Omaha 8.
The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, live every weekday at 8 a.m.